Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us for our polio presentation. And I am excited to welcome you here today. We do have a lot of content for you, and I'm excited that you will hopefully find some new pieces of information. But I've got all of our End Polio Now coordinators here. We've got Bruce Acevedo with Georgia, current EPNC. We've got Jeff Michaelman, who's with our Florida group. Incoming, Sean Petty, which you may all already know. And then, of course, myself, Kim Walden, with social media EPNC Global Polio Plus Society. So that all being said, big old mouthful, we'll go ahead and get started. We do have the chat, so you can put some questions in the chat, but what we're hoping to do is just wait till the end and then take those chat questions and then follow along with any additional ones as time permits. So Sean's going to get us started with our presentation. And once we get that up, then I will turn it over to Bruce to get started. And I think he's on that next slide.
Right now,
video. Thank you.
At this very moment, there's a movement happening. See, Rotary sparked an idea that was once unthinkable, ridding the world of a horrible disease, polio. A global community of scientists, advocates, governments, and health workers, people all doing their part to beat the unbeatable, track the untraceable, reach the unreachable. And it's all happening right now, people. This part of history belongs to everybody, so tell everybody, near, far, young, and old, that it will take everybody. Because legacies aren't forged overnight. Making history isn't instant. In the decades since Rotary and its partners started this journey, billions of children have been protected from polio. But we still have work to do. And this part's on us. All of us. Part-time, full-time, full stop. Right now, no breaks, no indifference. You and me. Because polio isn't unstoppable. We are. Together, we end polio.
All right. I got my slide anyways. You want to move to the next slide there, Sean? Yeah, I want to talk about the Georgia challenge that we have. And you notice on all these slides, it says inpolio.org/donate. I'm going to talk about that a lot. I'm getting a lot of people asking me, how do you actually, go directly to polio and not the annual fund stuff? And people don't realize that the inpolio.org/donate will bring you right to the page. And I want to talk a little bit about what we're doing in Georgia. We have an AKS, Tommy Bagwell, that had given us a challenge. He's got, he'll match. He's got 4,000. If we get $100 contributors and times 4,000, that's $400,000 that he's challenged us with. Well, in the past, he's been given like a bill about $1 million a year, and then he's reduced it a little bit. Exactly. And now he's opened it up to the rest of Georgia, and this can be done in all the other districts too once we started thinking about this. And so right now we're looking at trying to find in the state of Georgia Rotarians, which I believe there are about 10,000 Rotarians. You're looking at 4,000 of them to give $100, and that brings us to $400,000. And then the 2-to-1 match, we have $800,000. You keep doing these matches, you're at 1.6 million. It goes to 2.4. So it's really excited that we do this. So what I'm doing right now is everywhere I speak and every place I go, I actually have everyone that I'm talking to, from pets to the zone when we did it this last week. I just have them pull up on their phones inpolio.org. I don't have them go to the donate because if you pull the inpolio.org web page up, and I notice we have a DGN on that, which was really great in the DRFC. If you pull that and you go and you press that three lines at the top right, everything that you need to know is World Polio Day. They have registration for your event. World Polio resources. People ask for resources on certificates, partnership ambassadors, Rotary in the fight against polio. It actually, you can do a complete program in your club by pulling that up. And then it starts back in the 1800s when the first case in Vermont was found, and it goes all the way through to the present day on polio. So everything that you need to know to do a program at any of the clubs or assemblies or whatever, it's really handy. You got news stories, and you got the resource center, which they just can click on. But when I'm at luncheons, I have people put the next slide on, Sean. And this is the web page, and go to the next one. When you go on to inpolio.org and then you put the /donate in there, it'll bring you straight to this page. If you leave the donate off, it'll take you to the actual website where it has the entire history and all the resources and all the certificates and all the different links for in polio that you might need at a club. But this is where you go directly. It was incredible at Pets when I brought this up, and I had all the past presidents and the president-elects and the presidents pulled this up, and I asked them to put $100 in there, and because it is super important that our DGs, our DGEs, our DGNs, the DGNDs, they all know about this. It's really important that our polio chairs, our presidents and president-elects, in other words, we have to get the word out. So if everybody really help get the word out about inpolio.org and that /donate and let them pull it up in the front of them. I when I was at some of these events and people would come up to me and say, Bruce, how do you give money on that? I pull out a flyer and there's a QR code. And then take a picture of the QR code with their phone, or I just have them pull it up on their phone. And this is the actual page that you pull up where you just put, select your country and select your currency. And then it says one-time donate or reoccurring. So if they want to be a Paul Harris Society, a polio society, you click recurring, put $100 in there or more. And then, they're on it. And what is really great about this is you're not mailing it in. It's not taking a long time. The minute you put this in the website, you can immediately, when they do the updates at RI, when you go to the polio reports for the district, or you go to the CDR reports under the DGE or the DGE DG and the DRFC has access to, you can see all these people putting their money in. So when we're tracking 4,000 people, we can see from what events we go to how many people have put money in there. It has been really exciting. I have never ever been to a place or luncheon that I didn't talk about pulling this up and people not putting money in right away. And can you imagine all the Rotarian leaders throughout the world, all the TGNs, presidents, president-elects, all doing that just one day, how much money we would actually get? That $50 million would come in extremely quick. I think that was my 5 minutes. That went quick, wasn't it?
Next.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you very much.
Yes, so Bruce was sharing where the resources are in the QR code, so you can see where those are for the Polio Plus Society. And so that's there for you. That's an example of one of the pull-up banners that we did. On the next slide, you'll see my information. What they let me do is social media and work on the Polio Plus Society. And then on that next slide, you'll see something that I have been pushing that has done really, really well. So this is a graphic on the left that reminds everyone about that $1,500 per club for polio that they should do every year. And so it has the QR code and talks about the Polio Plus Society, because all of the individual giving that happens counts towards that $1,500 per club. And, you know, if you want to know why 1,500, you can kind of see the math there, but it definitely helps us achieve what we are hoping to do to get that Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation match, which we definitely want to get every single year. So this graphic you can find on our Polio Plus Society page, or obviously you'll get a copy of this deck once we share it out. So on the next slide is an image that I just came up with last night, and Robert liked it, so I guess it's a go. But basically we want to really promote that $1,500, because you would be shocked how many clubs don't do this. So if we can get more recognition for that process, it is part of the Club Excellence, or formerly known as the Citation Award. So it is something that they're going to want to do just to get their Club Excellence. And this is an easy one to tick off. So what we decided to do, and bat it around, and I think it'll be a great idea, is to have our EPNCs track which clubs have met that 1,500. And then when it comes time for all of the district events, they can share these certificates either with the district leadership or push it along themselves to the clubs. Maybe if we have tons and tons of them, which is our goal, maybe we can have a scrolling list of all the clubs who met that achievement. So I think this would be a really easy way for us to increase giving, and especially increase giving to polio. So you'll see more of that. On the next slide, talking about Polio Plus Society, the big hit also is the Kennel Club. So a lot of people want to share that information. It's a two-step process. They do a donation, and then they fill out a form, and they can get that form on the link or using the QR code. And then they will get sent the bandana that you see there that is so stinking cute. And I mean, if your goldfish can't wear it, that's okay. You can hang it over the corner of the aquarium. Or if it doesn't fit your horse, you know, we could probably work on getting a bigger one. But I think this would be great for everyone to just share with their friends and family. Awesome way to increase giving. And the Polio Plus Society Facebook group on the next slide, you'll see that. Hopefully all of you pay attention to that. I try to keep it up to date with all of our information. And I take a lot of messages from all over the world. So that's pretty awesome. And that's the link. But go in, please, and share it with all of your friends so that we get a bigger group and keep growing what happens in the knowledge and awareness of Rotary. So on the next slide is something that I don't know if you know about, but Nancy Barbie and Colleen Bonadonna are up to fundraising again. And what they are going to do is take a trip to Calgary, and they are going to make a whole bunch of stops along the way. But basically, they've created a Race for Rotary challenge, and they would like for everyone to go into Nancy's challenge and either add their own club Race for Rotary, which would then contribute to this polio giving goal of $1 million, or just contribute to theirs. And we are going to keep that site up to date with all of the information about what they're doing, where they're going. But essentially, they're going to start on June 9th, and they're going to go to St. Louis, Missouri, and they're going to see Larry Lunsford and his crew at District 6060. Then on the 10th of June, they're going to end up in the RI office for District 6440. So, you know, they're going to have a whole lot of Chicago stuff there. So that should be really fun. On the 11th, they're going to go to Minneapolis and they're going to see Tom Gump in his district 5950. Then on the 12th, they're going to be in Rapid City, South Dakota. Moving on from there to Loveland, Colorado, and they're going to be at a district conference for 5440. So that should be a lot of fun. Then they go on the 15th to Salt Lake City, Utah. Moving on to Boise, Idaho, Seattle, Washington, and then finally arriving at the convention where they'll meet up with Carol Pandak. And they're taking the End Polio Now Torch on a tour. So that's essentially what this is all about. And also to raise money for polio and to try to get us to do more Raise for Rotary fundraisers. So it's a super easy way for clubs to do fundraisers, doesn't cost anything, and it tracks all the donations. And you can watch in real time the numbers go up. So I went in and did it myself, and it was super easy. If you start a fundraiser on Raise for Rotary, they will send you all the documents with email templates, everything that you can share. I mean, they give you a fundraising coach to answer any questions. I mean, it just doesn't get any easier to do it. And it's a lot of fun. So I'm hoping that that will be a big hit and that we can watch that money go up. And maybe when they get to Calgary, they will have $1 million. That would be fantastic. So that's all I have to share. I'm going to turn it over now to Jeffrey.
Thanks, Kim. Next slide, Sean. So what my task was really tonight to talk about what Brenda Cressy talked about at the conference. Well, for those who weren't there, Brenda took a spill and didn't make it to Jacksonville. Those who were there know that Robert Hall ended up doing the presentation on Saturday night. However, it seems to be abbreviated because many of the people in the room were more focused on the Florida-Auburn game than hearing Robert talk. But what I really want to talk about is several things that came out of the kind of the conversations in the hallway, and then the Q&A that Marshall and Patrick and Sandra did on Sunday morning. And one of the things that has been coming up a lot is this idea of vaccine hesitancy. We're trying our best to stay out of the politics of what's going on right now. And what we're trying to get each of you to do and your teams in the districts is to remind people that in 1954, Dr. Salk, for the first time, was doing his clinical trials. And, you know, here we are 71 years later, and we've all but wiped out polio. We said we did in the US. We had one circulating case last year, but, you know, we've wiped it out in the US. But as we all know, it's just a plane ride away. And we found that out with COVID. So what we have to do is we have to continue to remind people that the vaccine is safe. Now, ironically, on today's the 10th, so on the 12th, it's the 70th anniversary from when Dr. Salk and his team came out and said the vaccine is safe. So what's the difference between 70 and 71 years? That was when April 12th, 1955, we started vaccinating children in mass. So 70 years, this injectable vaccine, which we're using in the US, is very safe. Now, some of you may be asking, all right, so why aren't we using the injectable vaccine everywhere? Next slide, Sean. So we're using the oral vaccine, which has got live virus in it. And we use that overseas for a couple reasons. One, you don't have to have a healthcare trained professional give the vaccine. The other one is it's less sensitive to temperature change than the injectable vaccine. So we are using it in many of the at-risk countries, particularly Afghanistan, Pakistan, those of us who've been to India to do a national immunization day, you're giving the drops to the little kiddos in the mouth. And so what can happen is we could have a very small chance that we would under-vaccinate a kiddo. All right? It is a very small chance, less than 1% causes the disease. Let's go to the next slide, Sean. And we're doing it. It happens one case maybe in 2.5 million doses. So it is really very unlikely that that's going to happen. But what do we have to do to make sure that we are prepared for this? We got to do two things. One, we got to make sure that every kiddo in the endemic countries gets vaccinated. All right, right now that's Pakistan and Afghanistan. And as you all know, we have challenges in both places, but we are fighting the challenges. Every time we get a twist, we twist our strategy a little bit. And the second thing is we got to make sure that we maintain herd immunity. And that's the footnote at the bottom, which requires that at least 80% of the population be vaccinated. So in order to have those two things working together, we as Rotarians need to continue to remind people that the polio vaccine is safe. Stay away from any other politics that are involved. The polio vaccine is safe. And that's the end of the discussion. Next slide, please, Sean. So what happens is that if you look at some of the numbers that Kim talked about and Bruce talked about, we need to look at the relationship between those of you that are DRFCs and district governors. We've got Manohar is the only person I think on the call from the district governor line tonight. Lindsay as well. So what we got to make sure is that we are getting the DDF, and the Zone 33 and 34 are the envy of the rest of the world because we commit our DDF. And we're going to talk about that a little bit, but it is critical that as each district goes through this process, that we make sure that we do that. Next slide, please, Sean. Because there's been some confusion over what we've tried to do over the last couple of years. We thought we'd put a slide together to help to clarify this a little bit. So what happens is that this year, the 33-34 Summit is going to be held in Jacksonville. And we will be talking with the DGEs and the DRFCs to commit their DDF. And if we do that prior to the summit in Jacksonville, which is going to be on Friday, September 12th, every district that commits their DDF will have an opportunity to have breakfast with Sanku Yoon there in Jacksonville. So we're trying to come up with any incentive that we might have. I'm not sure that that's going to make a difference, but that's the first step. We're trying to make sure that districts have completed the pledge form. Then what's going to happen, the DGE will then go to the International Assembly. And Manohar, that's going to be you pretty soon, buddy. You're going to take that N and replace it with an E. And you'll be going to the International Assembly in January. And you're going to basically be doing the same thing that you and your DRFC have already done.
Sure. It's only 10
And
months
then
away, I
what
guess.
happens is we'll get with you, as Bruce and Lindsay and Sean and I are doing right now, to make sure on July 1 we actually do the transfer. Now, we will consistently get DGs or DFRCs say, well, wait a second, I did step 1 back in Jacksonville, or I did step 2 when I was at the International Assembly. Why do I need to do step 3? The only people that can actually do step 3 are the DG or the DRFC. Even if you've pledged it, Rotary can't take the money. The Rotary Foundation cannot take the money out of your account. So it is critical that step 3 happens. And, Bruce and Lindsay and soon to be Sean are happy to help with that process, myself, to make sure that it's as seamless as possible. And if you want to, Sean, go to the next slide. It's so easy. All you got to do is get that QR code and you can do the transfer. And we just want to remind the districts that you do have the ability now to use your aged DDF. The trustees agreed to do that last year because they were so committed to polio, they didn't want to wait until the end. Polio was one of the few reasons that you could go in and get that aged DDF early. And so we want to encourage districts when they're looking at, do I have enough DDF to commit? Many districts still have some DDF remaining in their age DDF that we want you to take advantage of. Thank you. And I'm going to pass it to Sean, who's got control of the slides anyway.
Thanks so much, Jeff. Appreciate it. Let me first take this opportunity. This is my first official meeting as an incoming EPNC, and I just want to say a great thank you to everyone at Zone 34, and in particular to Jeff, to Bruce, and to Kim for kind of welcoming me onto the team, and a special thank you to Lindsay as well. Lindsay is kind of my inspiration and my go-to when it comes to anything polio. So thank you guys, really appreciate it. In the same breath, I just want to take the opportunity as well to just remind everybody of a couple of things. First, if you do have any questions based on anything that you've heard so far or anything you will hear, feel free to post it into the chat box and we'll get to it during the Q&A segment. Secondly, I also want to just re-emphasize a couple of the things that were said. Please, if you have never checked it out, or even if you have checked it out, please use the Raise for Rotary resource. It's a fantastic resource that individuals, non-members, members, clubs, districts can use to help just raise money for the Polio Plus Fund. And of course, always remember you have a great resource in endpolio.org as well. So today, what I was really going to focus on is this occasion we have every year, which is World Immunization Week. And a lot of us within the world of Rotary, where most of us, if not all of us, are quite aware of World Polio Day that happens every year in October on the 24th. But unfortunately, not all of us are aware of this kind of second occasion that we have to highlight the work that Rotary does for polio and the work that happens around the world as well. Because remember, we're not just in it for polio, we're in this for Polio Plus. And the plus in Polio Plus is all the additional resources, all the additional work, efforts, networking that take place because of the polio effort and the almost additional work that goes into healthcare, that goes into preventing diseases that can happen. And that's what World Immunization Week tries to highlight a bit, right? It's while as Rotarians and as Rotary clubs and as Rotary districts, we always want to highlight the work of Polio Plus. You know, we have this great opportunity during World Immunization Week, which is always the last week of April every year, to kind of just hit it home, right? It's the second occasion during our Rotary year that we can take to, you know, build advocacy, to raise awareness, and to just increase donations and contributions towards our Polio Plus Fund. So here's a quick video that just kind of highlights immunization on the whole for you guys.
You are directly connected to this little girl and this little boy and these scientists, these humanitarians and this doctor. Together, you are part of one of humanity's greatest achievements. Immunization. Over the last 50 years, essential vaccines have saved 6 lives a minute. That's 8,000 lives a day, every day for 5 decades. And we did it with you. Because if you've been vaccinated, you're helping to keep others safe. But now, we need your help again. Because there are still children who don't have access to vaccines, We need urgent funding from world leaders to keep the vaccines coming. Because no child deserves to die of a disease we know how to prevent. Millions are here today through the power of immunization. Yes, this one. And this one too. We can reach millions more. It's time to show the world what's humanly possible.
So I think, you know, the message to take away from this video more than anything else is what's humanly possible. And I think as Rotarians, we know what's humanly possible through our experience with polio. The fact that, again, we've more or less, you know, reduced polio globally by 99.9%. And we're just, you know, that much closer every year to eradicating it globally forever shows what's humanly possible. But, you know, it's always going to be that last effort, right? The last mile that you have to run that's sometimes going to be where you need to reinforce your commitment and your dedication towards the effort. So that's the phase that we're in right now. So again, we need to utilize every opportunity we have to remind folks that, you know, while we've been able to eradicate polio in several countries around the world, it still exists in a few. And for us to really live up to our commitment to eradicate this disease around the world forever, we just need that little extra effort, and we'll need that little extra in terms of contributions and awareness to just, you know, get to the finish line. So this whole idea of World Immunization Week, you know, we can utilize it again as a platform and as a springboard to really just demonstrate again how much Rotary has really helped in the fight against polio, demonstrate our progress, but also just increase awareness of what the overall power of vaccination on the whole is, particularly with regards to our efforts to eradicate polio. And it's an opportunity for us to kind of focus on the work that's done through our entire Polio Plus effort. And as I mentioned before, it's the plus in Polio Plus that we can use to differentiate World Immunization Week versus World Polio Day, right? It's a lot of other stuff that happens and that's supported through our Polio Plus Fund, not just specifically to polio, but with just an overall, within the overall network of disease prevention and eradication. And, you know, we are, as Rotary, we're part of the Global Polio Eradication Initiative, which itself does so much great work around the world. And again, emphasizing that, demonstrating to people that we are, you know, people of action, that these are the things and these are part of our success stories as Rotarians. It helps just, you know, increase our notoriety. It helps increase the confidence in our brand overall to see the great work that Rotary does, especially when it comes to polio. So a lot of times the question comes up, you know, what is it exactly that members, clubs, and districts can do during World Immunization Week? Again, it's kind of straightforward. We need members, clubs, and districts to just raise awareness, not just with regards to World Immunization Week, but with regards to the Polio Plus Fund, with regards to the End Polio Now campaign, with regards to just the overall effort to eradicate polio globally that Rotary has undertaken for so many years, and that we are very close to the end. We just need that continued and extra support to get to the finish line. You know, encouraging more contributions to our Polio Plus Fund is always going to be a great thing. As Kim had mentioned before, whether you want to encourage your clubs to achieve that $1,500 goal per club so that you can get that certificate of excellence, whether it is that you want to encourage your members to become part of the Polio Plus Society within your district, whether it is that you want to utilize other resources like the Kennel Club and whatnot, just so that you can encourage and incentivize more giving, again, at an individual level or at a club level. So where can you find information with regards to World Immunization Week? Where can you find additional resources, graphics, videos, and whatnot? I've just listed a few spots where you can grab as much information as you want and as many resources as you'd like. So the first, of course, is through endpolio.org. There's within the resource center there's a specific link that's dedicated towards World Immunization Week. In the brand center, the Rotary Brand Center, there are a ton of resources there as well. Images, banners, even videos that are dedicated towards World Immunization Week. On the WHO website, they have an entire suite of campaign resources dedicated towards World Immunization Week each year. It follows the theme that is developed by the WHO for World Immunization Week, in which case this year it is immunization for all is humanly possible. So if you want more specific resources or more themed resources for this particular year, you can get it from the WHO website. And then there's also a completely dedicated website just for this year called itshumanlypossible.org, where you can find a ton more information, a ton more resources, all about World Immunization Week, and allows you to just share, whether it's on social media, whether it's on your website, whether it's via email, whether it's via text message. There's a ton of stuff there that you can download and just have your members and clubs spread the word to encourage them to support, to encourage them to build awareness, and to encourage more contributions. At the end of the day, it's all about just showing the world that immunization for all is humanly possible, and that our dedication as Rotarians to eradicate polio worldwide has not declined in any way. We're still charged to do it. We're still on our way to do it, and we're still dedicated to do it. So with that, I'm going to hand back over to Kim Walden. Thank you.
Thanks, Sean. That was awesome. So before we get into the Q&A, I do want to make sure that I recognize EPNC Lindsay Cancino, who is our current, as of this exact second, EPNC from the Caribbean, and will be moving on to the DGN. And Sean is taking his place. And so, Lindsay, if there's anything you'd like to add, if not, I understand, but thank you so much for what you've done so far. You've done amazing things for polio.
You didn't see me cry enough in Jacksonville, eh, Kim?
I was crying, so it was hard to tell.
Yeah. I'll just say it's been an absolute joy. I've done this for 4 years. And damn, you've done it. It's a highlight of my Rotary experience. And I will miss you guys. I'll still be involved in whatever way I can, but I'm not allowed to continue. I've been told that emphatically. Good thing that I've got someone as capable, in fact, more capable than me in many ways, in Sean Patty, and he's been an incredible support. So thanks, guys, and keep up the effort.
We love you, Lindsay. Thank you so much for what you've done. It's been inspirational watching you. And I know you're going to do great things in your next role as well. So with that being said, thank you, Lindsay, for sharing and for all you've done. Let's take some questions. Do you guys have any questions for us?
Kim, before we do that, there's a couple people on this call that were not in Jacksonville, and I just want to make sure that everybody is aware. She talked about Lindsay. On Saturday, it was announced that Kim has gotten the Regional Polio Award for a polio-free world, and we're all very proud of Kim for getting that.
Thank you, Jeff. That was kind.
Kim, you mentioned something. You had that beautiful picture of that adorable little Molly wearing her bandana. And we are fortunate to have Marie Turnbull from 6970 on the call, who's been actively involved with that. In fact, her dogs won an award. Marie, you want to tell people about the Kennel Club?
Sure. The Kennel Club, you need every avenue out there that you can use to try and get this word out. And the Kennel Club is just a cute, fun way to get that word out. It was created in a different district. They do the work. They also have recently sent out little starter packets if you want to start a Kennel Club in your own area. I think they'll get tired of sending bandanas around the world. But, you go ahead and you sign up your turtle, your fish, your cat, or your dog, and they'll in return send you a pin and a little bandana. And they have cute little quarterly contests where you dress your pet up with. It might be the quarter, might be you dress them up in purple, or you dress them up with the M polio. I think this quarter currently is a family picture with you and your pet. So it's just a fun little way of getting that word out and getting people that may not give, but kind of like doing it this way. If you've got a club that's very big into giving for Canine to Warriors or something like that, it's a great thing to bring to that club. You might get a lot more awareness out there.
True. Thank you. Anyone else have any questions about some of the things we've covered today? I know we hit a lot of stuff.
Kim, this is Alfred. I want to be sure everybody knows our rock stars, Rich and Cheryl Willett from District 6960. They served last year when I was district governor as my Polio Plus chairs and did an amazing job. I don't know, with a show of hands, I'm just curious, show of hands, does anybody know Rich by chance?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what you have in front of you, ladies and gentlemen, fellow Rotarians, Rich is a polio survivor. If you want to hear a firsthand story, Rich is the guy to tell it. His wife has been by his side for many years now, and they are a beautiful couple. And you never see Rich without a smile on his face. And you talk about bringing some tears to your eyes. It's unbelievable. He is also an accomplished author. He has, have you gotten into your 4th and 5th book yet, Rich?
I'm working on number 4 right now. Yes, thank you, Alfred.
So he has 3, one of which, if I recall off the top of my head, called Perseverance. And he's obviously, being the author, he'd tell you all about it. But Jim, I have a set of 3 that I'm gonna put in a box. I'm gonna send to you, so you can see the quality of work and the compelling story and what Rich represents. But Rich, affirm or confirm the fact that you were a poster child. How old were you when they took your picture and you did something cool way back in the day?
Yes.
How old were you?
How old was I? I was 4 years old. No, I'm sorry. I take that back. I was, let me see, 6 years old.
Cool. And you were on a poster representing doing what?
You were on a poster representing doing what?
Oh, I was raising money for March of Dimes. So, yeah, I not only was a poster child on a poster, but as well, my father and I and one of my uncles went around collecting money and for the March of Dimes. We used to go to things like the
VFW.
What's that?
VFW.
Oh yeah, the VFW clubs like that. Obviously, we had a lot of veterans at that time that had joined many of those clubs and the veterans clubs, and we hit as many as we could. And it was a wonderful experience. I hate to say it, but I still enjoy the smell inside a bar. But that's only because I was affected by that at such a young age. We started that actually before I was 3 years old, going out to those clubs.
Well, thank you for sharing that story. I had no idea. And I know that will make a big difference in what you're able to accomplish, because that kind of story it makes all the difference. So thank
It's a
you
passion for us.
Yeah.
Exactly. So thank you for what you did in the past and for what you are still continuing to do. We're excited to have you as part of our group, and thanks for being here tonight.
They've
Thank you.
been great to work with. Kim, after I congratulated you, I realized that I had made a significant error. It's not clear to me that you could ever win the regional polio award since your responsibility is international. And the award that she received was the International Polio Service Award.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations.
Thanks for
Jeff,
correcting.
that's kind of like your
Thank
phone
you.
going off in a meeting, so that'll be another $1,000 to Polio Plus.
I will take you at that, and I will do that.
Does anyone have any further questions about some of the content that we shared today? If not, I would like to remind all of you that we do have our next Foundation Matters meeting, and that's April 17th at 6. And you can go to the RI zones 33, 34, and you can find Foundation Matters and register for that, and you will get those recordings as they come. But they're going to talk about goal setting. So I had a little fun with the graphic, ready, set, goal. So we're going to see how we get to that goal, talk about goal setting, and I hope all of you will be there for that. Definitely just want to say thank you to everyone for being here tonight, for all of your work on behalf of ending polio, because we are counting down to history. The end is in sight, but we're not there yet. And I know with all of us working hard and sharing the message that we will get there. So thanks again for being here. Please feel free to reach out to any of us and to share our deck with those that weren't able to be here.
Kim, just one follow-up. Our next polio presentation for Zone 33 will be on July 10th. So put that on your calendars. That date was given to us this week.
Yeah, we're going to try to have one every quarter. Well, with that, unless anyone has anything else they'd like to ask our group or chat or share about, I think we're adjourned. Have a good night.